What's up, guys? It's the Thursday Night Lights podcast. We are back. It is me, and my boy Cedric. We're here to give you guys, all the crazy stories about our days working security. So, Cedric, what's up with you, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? Been a long time. Thought we need to
Been a,
get this thing started back up.
yeah, it's been a couple years, but we still got plenty of stories to tell. We could rehash some old ones too. Let's start out. Why don't you tell the audience what a Thursday nighter is? Most people Thursday nights are pretty chill. Explain to them what a Thursday nighter is, why that's the name of our podcast.
Aha. All right. So the basis for this is on our where we did security at on Thursday nights were ladies' nights. So on those nights, you get in free discount drinks, free drinks up to a certain time. So in that time period, you would get a certain kind of lady on ladies' nights, which we call Thursday nighters. So they come in there, they're just hawking up free drinks, getting crazy, doing wild shit, all kind of craziness. So that's what we call Thursday nighter.
Yep. Yeah. When people ask, what is a Thursday nighter, the way I always describe it to them is that promotion, it was girls drink free. But the only girls that care about drinking free are girls that one can't afford it and
Yes.
two aren't quite good enough or aren't quite good looking enough to get guys to buy drinks for them. And
Yes.
if you've ever worked at a bar, you know you don't got to be that good looking to get a guy to buy a drink
No.
for you. So
Especially,
you take
especially any time of night, somebody's gonna buy you a drink. I mean,
exactly. So if you are so down bad that you can't even afford a drink or afford someone buying you a drink, so you got to come in and drink for free, that's the Thursday night. And
yeah,
then on the dude side, a dude Thursday nighter is the type of dude who wants to pick up those type of chicks, the type of dude who's like wants the most ratchet bottom of the barrel, whatever they can get their hands
it's
on.
what I call a scavenger. He's just around there scavenging.
Yeah, yeah. So Thursday nights were rough nights. We always Shit always popped off on Thursday nights. It was always with just the mangiest people, the grimiest people. They
uh,
were those nights where if a girl was hitting on you, you just didn't go for it. It didn't
no,
matter. Didn't matter at all.
terrible, terrible, terrible night. And then the thing is that at the point whenever the free drinks were done, now they're stuck in there. Now you're stuck in there with an absolutely smashed, like drunk Thursday night girl just running around, being crazy, hitting on every kind of dude. And it's an ugly night. Ugly night.
It's a bad night. I don't think they do the promotion anymore. I was working
I
last
was
summer. I was
wondering
working,
that. Yeah.
yeah, Cowboy Jacks. I was working there, and they told me Wild Bills doesn't do that promotion anymore. I guess they stopped in the pandemic. So I guess Thursday nighters, man, it's a relic of the past. They don't exist anymore. I don't know where the Thursday nighters go now.
Oh man. I wonder if we should do a cast in there on Thursday night, trying to bring them back, man. One night only, bring back the Thursday night.
Do a live show.
Yeah,
Get the old ones back in.
let the audience see in person how this Thursday nighter works around the room.
You know that DJ Joey's still there too, talking about ladies, ladies.
No, oh my gosh, man, that that dude, man, I'm telling you. I mean, one good enough dude, but man, when you're sitting there at a point, I know everybody that's done security at the end of the night, you're trying to get people out, and you got that DJ that's still either playing music or just talking out to keep people in the bar. That stuff drives you nuts when you're trying to kick people out. And it's this dude was man. I'm telling you, he was amazing at trying to keep people in the bar when we're trying to boot them out of there.
Yeah, you say he was a all right dude. I never liked that. I
Just like
never. I was like, nah, dude, I can't do it. I
it's
can't
probably
do it.
I know he said it probably from that one time, and I don't even know if I mentioned it when he was going and trying to talk at the end of the night. If you can imagine, so the DJ booth where he's in has this one like string by it where if you pull down on the string, it lets this loud ass freaking horn noise. So we get the lights on, we're trying to get people out. And I see Justin's over by the DJ booth, and the dude's starting up. Ladies, if you want, all of a sudden you just hear, and he's looking at him. He's trying to talk, and every time he talks, Justin's just pulling a horn. And he is getting so pissed, dude. I was back there rolling.
I had to get him to shut up because when
Yeah.
he's talking, we're trying to get people out of the bar, but
Yeah.
when he's talking, they think they can still stay in there and drink, and that's just not how it goes. So I had to just
Man,
that horn on him.
that was the funniest mess because I just see him beelining back to the manager. I was like, oh Lord, I'm about to get this call back. Next thing you know, on the mic, Cedric, can I see you in the back? I'm like, oh. I had to tell him, I was like, man, it's funny. We're just trying to get people out of here. It's nuts.
So this week, this upcoming week, it's definitely a week where I don't miss being in the game anymore because we got New Year's Eve. And
Oh
to this
yeah.
day, I hate New Year's Eve. I can't stand New Year's Eve. I don't celebrate it. I go to bed at a normal ass time. I think it's a stupid holiday, and it's all the year. I started working bar security when I was 19 years old, so it's all the years working
Yeah.
bar security. What's your worst New Year's Eve story?
Ooh. Let me think.
Doesn't got to be Wild Bills. Doesn't got to be with me because I should mention me and Cedric. We worked at Wild Bills together for 3 or 4 years, and then we worked in Uptown together for another year after
Yep.
that. But Cedric worked security long before he met me. I worked security in
Yeah.
Minneapolis long before I met Ced. So your craziest New Year's Eve story, just your whole security.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Oh my gosh. I just know the wildest one. Yeah, that had to be. Oh, okay. So yeah. So we've got one before, right before Wild Bills. I was working at Majors. You remember where that one was? Like a
Yep.
little bit of street from Wild Bills. So we're in there and it's like they had some, the normal stuff they have in clubs where they had the ball drop with the balloons and the money and beads and shit. And so it's getting crazy in there. So what it was like we had a large group population of like these Asian ladies in there. I mean, they're in there having a good time, everything's going well, and this and that. But then they had a small group of guys just trying to mess with them the whole time. And they're coming up to us, and they're like, listen, we're trying to have a good time, and here these guys are bothering us. So we're constantly, they wouldn't let us like kick the dudes out because it was New Year's Eve. They're like, well, just give them warnings, whatever. I'm like, thinking these guys need to go. But I was just newly starting there and the head bouncer guy wasn't ready to get him out yet. So we get him and we moved them totally to a different side of the bar than where the ladies were. And then after the ball dropped, they somehow migrated back and they're like groping the girls or whatever, this and that. So now we're kicking it out. Now the whole time we're kicking, then grabbing that group out, these girls are like pissed. They're like, "That's right, I'm calling my boyfriends." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "Okay, so we're gonna might have to deal with an angry boyfriend, coming up, touching us later." I get it. Um, so then it was literally, I swear, probably 3 or 4 minutes in the front door. People were like, "Hey, we need security outside now, man." And I don't want to stereotype, but I get out there and there's like 20 Hondas out there just freaking coming out. And I'm like, what in the world? And the dudes come up and I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. He's like, man, someone's in there touching my lady. I'm like, oh, and I don't know if from what because I had just got back here from out of the army. So I didn't know if they had some Asian gang out there what they were talking about. But I guess that lady was the boyfriend of one of the head guys. So they were all in the parking lot. And I'm like, what the heck? So I'm sitting there and I'm calling the head guy out. I'm like, listen, one, we can't let that group of dudes out this front door because they might die tonight. So I'm like, we had them all back. I remember it was like 7 of them in the kitchen because the guys were in the bar and they were looking for them. So I'm like, listen, we'll keep these guys up here, let them go out the back and like run to the gas station, whatever. I was like, listen, y'all can call the cops, whatever you want to. You brought this on yourself, but hey, good luck. So we went out the front. And so I went in, I was like, listen, we let those guys go. They went out the back. I don't know where they went. I was like, you might try to find them around here. We just let them out. Now, granted, it's New Year's Eve. Them dudes had something to drink. So what do you know? They come around the corner of the freaking bar to the front. Man, I've never seen like 20 dudes jump on like eight, and we're trying to get people out, slinging them back and forth. And I'm like trying to hold up. I'm like, you gotta call the cops because the main thing is you don't want to call the cops because you get points on your bar or whatever. So you try to make that the last thing you do. And like I just remember just grabbing people, just get him back, get him back, get him back. And man, it was like an all-out brawl because it was the eight cats were Asian too. So we didn't know who was what. So we're getting together people that were fighting each other. I had no idea. But then the cops ended up coming. But when the cops came in, I swear we must have had 20 because they were calling more people. There was like 20 something people out there in the middle just freaking brawling out there. And that was on the New Year's Eve, that was the craziest ones I've had. Just an all out brawl.
Yeah, if that was, let's see, I knew people that worked at Majors. So if I remember right, it was like 2010 that they closed down, maybe 2011.
Yeah, right when
Yeah.
Wild Bills was opening up.
Yep. So if it was that time, I was working downtown at that time. So I know it was probably a Hmong gang you were dealing with. I had to deal
Might
with
have
those
been.
dudes downtown all the time.
Man, I had no idea what that. I was like, there is a gang, and I'm like, and then he just happened to mess with the leader's girl, and it was, oof.
Yep. It's one of them things where I'd have to tell people, or people told me at the time because I was the new guy coming in when I was 19, and they were like, "Hey man, if it's one Asian dude, make sure you call for backup because
Yeah,
next thing you know, there's gonna be 30 of them around."
quickly. I mean, they assemble. I'll give it to them. They assemble quickly.
They do. They do. I don't want to stereotype either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying every time it happened, it was like 30 of them, but they all came up to my waist. So just
Yeah, that's what
throwing them
I'm
out.
saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm just like trying to grab it. I'm putting people together, and then people are fighting. I'm like, I don't know. I was like, just call the cops. Call the cops. It was nuts.
Uh, yeah, man, you gotta love New Year's Eve. Trying to think my craziest New Year's Eve story. I don't think I had like a true nothing super crazy happened on a New Year's Eve. There was the one, I think it was, I want to say it was my first New Year's Eve at Wild Bills. I didn't really know how they did it
Oh
down
yeah,
there because coming downtown, it's totally different. People are, dressing up and there's a strict dress code, and New Year's
hundred
Eve is
percent.
like all about renting out VIP spots, and Wild Bills didn't have none of that. But I remember they wanted me to get there at 7, so I got there at 7. Line was already out the door. I'm like, what the hell are we doing? And then the whole night, man, the whole night you can't even move. You're like
No.
trying to swim through people, just trying to find your pocket so you don't have to really move. And it was one of those nights where just small stuff's happening all night. So I'm just running around doing stuff, annoyed, like, all right, let's get to midnight. And then at about 11 o'clock, I don't think I talked to anybody all night. None of the bar patrons, nothing, unless I was kicking them out. This girl came up, super cute girl, super attractive girl, comes up, tells me, I'm gonna find you at midnight. All right.
All
Bet, bet. Let's then we can,
right.
we could work with that. And then at about 11:30, can't remember if it was Lee or his little A, whoever the manager was in charge, calls me into the back. And it's me and it's a couple other guys, and they're like, all right, we're gonna do this big giant shot show at midnight. And I'm like, I got plans at midnight, bro.
Yeah, we can't do that right
Yeah,
now.
I got plans here.
Yeah.
And not only so their big plan was, we'd have the normal shot show up
Right.
on the bar, and then they were gonna put a server on each table
Oh,
that's
yes, that's right.
around.
That's right. Yep.
And they assign each server a security guy. And of course,
Yep.
I'm not gonna mention her name, but I get assigned to the short, crazy one with all the tattoos that nobody
Mm,
else would have wanted to watch her
mm.
table. So I at this point I'm like, I'm not gonna find this midnight girl. I know it's a lost cause already. I lift this girl, the server girl, up onto the table, and it's how it was the table, the booth table up against the wall, so it's already real wobbly.
Wobble. Yep. Yep.
And I'm looking at her and I'm like, don't dance, don't do nothing, just
Yeah.
sit
Yeah.
there,
Poor.
pour shots. I'm having to keep guys back because they're trying to get too close. And then next thing I know, I look up and she's dancing and stomping on it and going nuts. And the table collapses and I had to catch her
Oh
so she
shit.
didn't fall. So I catch her and she's laughing. I'm like, are you drunk? What the hell's going on right now? But I caught her, set her down. All the dudes just came up. She's just pouring shots everywhere. And I'm just like, I'm looking around. I'm like, yeah, that midnight girl, she's long gone. Didn't find her the rest of the night.
Not,
No idea what happened to that girl, but That's that was the worst New Year's Eve ever. That was a missed opportunity for sure.
Yeah, I remember that shots because they had that was the first time they were doing that. And I was like, we're spread too thin, man. I was like, if something goes down, because we had you there, we had two in the main, we had one back at the cash bar,
Yep.
which was weird because that cash bar is awkward. But yeah, they had one back there, and I think one by that where was it where the big patio door was? Then we have one around there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. They had one there, and then we still had like three guys who were posted up. Their only job was to pull the string at midnight to unleash the
yeah.
balloons. So
And then there
we
was all hell broke loose.
Yep. So if we had 12 guys, each one of us was assigned to one specific spot, which is
Yep.
it's stupid because you need more than one person to control that. But that balloon drop was the dumbest
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
They would
That
tell
thing.
people there's like $1,000 in the balloon. There was like maybe $50 worth of gift cards.
That's what I'm saying. There wasn't even $100 worth of items in that damn balloon drop. I think most of it was fake money and then some gift cards that were like $5, $10. Like it was horrible.
But people
Horrible.
they would release that balloon drop and people would just like rush in there trying to catch a balloon. People would start pushing each other,
Yeah.
start doing whatever they could. You're like, guys, you're getting gift cards.
Yeah.
Gift cards
No.
that don't even redeem to alcohol. They won't even let you use them on alcohol.
No, it's just all on food. I'm like, people want to think, I want to get a drink. I'm like, you can't even use it for a drink, man. So bad. So
Man,
bad.
that's the difference of working New Year's Eve at a suburban bar like Wild Bill's versus working downtown. Working downtown, it got busy, but it was a lot
Right.
classier clientele. Or downtown, it was lying out there, or not downtown in Wild Bill's, it was lying out the door, just trashing
Yeah.
people. No, nobody really dressed up. People
No.
pre-gaming way too hard. Like people would get there at 8 o'clock and they'd be like, I would do most of my cutoffs before midnight. I
Oh,
would cut
100%. And the thing was is that I remember a lot of times was Brian was like, well, we want to keep as much people in the bar by midnight. But I'm like, man, people are already hammered. I'm like, I can't keep half of these people in this bar because they can barely stand up. But like you said, like that's the difference between downtown and like a suburban one. Like downtown, people are dressed up and they're not wanting to get too crazy because they're all dressed up. And so you don't have a lot of those problems. I mean, you're going to obviously have someone that's overdrink, but they're going to have somebody with them that's going to get them out. But it's going to be nothing that nobody's jumping around wanting to fight, being really dressed up or in some kind of cocktail dress or something.
I don't think at Bills we ever had like a true fight. I remember one of the New Year's. It was weird because dude he showed up and he thought it was like Halloween or something. He was dressed up like Wolverine, and we were like, hey man,
Wrong
what are you
holiday.
doing here? New Year's Eve. And later in the night, like we had told him at the door, like you can't. He had like the plastic
I said,
fucking
yeah, I remember that
hand knife
freaking
things.
idiot.
Yeah, we're like, hey man, you can't have the Wolverine claws out. Like it's one, it's New Year's Eve. Two, I don't
Yeah,
even know if we'd allow that on Halloween.
like a regular day, like yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And then sure enough, around like 11 o'clock, I'm doing a lap and I see him and he's pushing somebody and he literally steps back and puts the claws on and is
Oh
like, let's go. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I got in between them, got him out, told him he's got to go, and he still got the claws on his hand.
He was
He's
ready
like,
for war, man.
yeah, he's like, don't step to me. I'm like, bro, I know those claws are plastic. You're not doing any. You're not Wolverine. You're not.
Hey, that meth was telling him, man, he was Wolverine. He already retracted the claws.
He had somehow taken his shirt off, so he was just in a wife beater and jeans, and I'm like, bro, you trying to
You love
fight
that mess, man. That dude. Oh my god.
bought those fake ass Wolverine claws for like $15 at Target. You're like, what are you doing, bro? This is New Year's Eve. This doesn't even make sense for this holiday.
I remember when he was first coming in, they had that, and I got called the door, and man, I was like, dude, it's not even the right holiday. I'm like, what are you doing? But he was spaced out anyway.
Yeah, I think he said he came from like Comic Con or some weird ass
Yeah.
thing. We're
Oh
like,
yeah. That's right. That's right. They had something downtown.
yeah, but we're
That's
like,
right.
hey man, you still can't wear claws in a bar. Like, what are you? You're an adult for one. Like,
Yeah. I'm like, go
what's your
home and
play here?
change, man. God no.
Man, it was weird. We always got the weirdos at Wild Bills, man. Always.
Man, I just remember. Just remember It's like the outfits it brought up to me. You remember them two dudes that used to come in with them flamboyant outfits.
The one that I call Lil John.
Was it wait, was it that the one little remember it was like a bigger one and a real skinny dude that he
I
was
call
like,
I called the well the chunkier one.
yeah,
He looked like Elton John. Like I didn't
that's it.
call
Yes. Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like I should clarify. I didn't call him this because he happened to lean away, you know, sexually. I called him this because he looked like Elton John. He had the
He
same
did.
hair as Elton John. He had the
A
same
hundred
face.
percent.
He wore like one time he wore those pink ass star sunglasses that
Oh
Elton
yeah.
John wore. Like he looked like
He
Elton
looked
John,
but I remember his friend, like I think it was like some skinny Latino dude
yep.
that always had his hair pulled back and he would wear like some sequins type. I don't know. That was just some weird shit, man.
There was one night, I don't think it was me and you at the door. I feel like it was me and Chad at the door. And Chad saw him walking up like 50 feet away. And he was like, yeah, we're not going to let them in, but I need you to tell them. I don't want to deal with this. I was like, come on. Because the Latino dude, he was wearing a fishnet shirt, nothing
Yeah,
underneath it, just a fishnet
I
shirt.
got called from this. I got called from the back for that. Yep, I
And
remember.
then Elton John, he was wearing jean shorts, but they were all the way up. Like
Oh, yeah,
his pubes were sticking out. You could see pubic hair from the
dude,
top.
that was a raw. That was the
And
the
then
weirdest
they threw a fit
conversation.
when I told them they can't come in. I'm like, hey man, you know we got a dress code. You guys can't come in here like that. And they, you know, that's how you got called up there because they
Yeah,
started throwing a fit and they
as soon as
started
I
calling
came
me.
out, yeah, you were homophobic and all that stuff, and I was like coming in like this whole bar is homophobic. I said, listen, I said I want to get this right so you can understand. I don't want to offend anybody. I said for one of this bar, we have a dress code. I looked at the other one. I said, I I didn't know the right pronoun, so I was like, and with you, I said, you got your nipples out. I can't. Girl,
Can't
guy,
do it.
no nipples. And I said, and with you, you got a ball out. I was like, however you identify, you can't walk up in my bar with the balls out. So I'm like, I said, that's where we're at. If you go back home and just get a little bit more material down there, I said, and you cover your nipples. I said, first drinks on me, man. That's all I got. But it was the awkwardest thing because they were kept on saying, homophobic, and he's homophobic. I said, no, it's just the rule, man. I'm like, what bar gonna let you in with your balls out, man?
Not our bar, that's for
No.
sure.
I was like, Gay Dining is downtown. You can get down there. I'm pretty sure they get you up in there.
Man, them dude, they used to come in all the time. They came back in, I'm sure the next weekend.
Oh
Like
yeah, the
we
next
didn't stop
day.
them from coming in. Yeah, they were in all the time.
That was a
And
Friday. That was the next day.
I've never had in all of my security career, I've never had so many calls from other people in the bar for one couple because they people would find me and they'd be like, "Hey, these guys are dancing like really aggressive.
Yeah.
Can you get them to tone it down?" And it's like they were damn near going at it on the dance floor. You're like, "Hey, man, you can't be wheelbarrowing this man
That's
here. What are we doing?"
Is it the wheelbarrow? They would be over the top, and I think they from one point, as long as they kept coming in there, I said I think they just kind of push it, and then they would always go to homophobic. I was like, man, I don't know. I was like, you gotta let me know what bar you can do this in. Like, I was like, gay, straight, or indifferent. Like, you can't have dudes' legs up on you, you pushing them through. Like, you got your man's busting it open on the dance floor. Man. I was like, we can't do that.
Yeah, they'd be rubbing each other. They'd be ripping each other's
Oh,
shirts open, like rubbing each other's chests. Be like, hey man, like
I
what are
was
we
like,
doing here? You can't do
yeah.
this.
I was like, you can express yourself outside the bar. I was like, in here, don't nobody want to see that, man.
No, man. And
Oh,
we would have to kick out, you know, straight people for doing that stuff too. Be like,
yeah.
hey man, we can't do all of this.
And that's what I was telling them. I was like, and I was like, we get anybody else. I said, guy, guy, girl, 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 guy. I'm like, anything like that stuff, we can't have it in here. But they would always push it and then start arguing. But the thing is, they would come in every weekend,
Every week.
every weekend. And I'm just like,
That's
oh,
that's the crazy thing. That's the main difference in being at a Wild Bills versus downtown. Downtown, we had our regulars, but the regulars were like high rollers. Like if I saw you
bruh.
every weekend, it was because you were coming into VIP every weekend. You were popping
Yep.
bottles, you were doing whatever. we didn't have just regulars, just normal working class
No.
regulars. So going to Wild Bills, it's like I'm seeing the same people Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It doesn't matter if I kicked you out the week before, the day before. Your ass is coming back in. And I was an asshole. I was mean as hell to these people when I kicked them out. And it didn't matter. They would still be back in the next day, just smiling, having a good time. What kind of mental disease is this?
That's how I was like, man, I was like, I don't know if you were drunk, what you were on that before, but they would do every week. It'd be the same 3 nights: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Act nuts on the last day on Saturday. You think you wouldn't see them? Boom. Next Thursday, there they are again. I'm just like, man,
Man, I
please go
remember
somewhere else.
the worst case I think I've seen of somebody coming into the bar the next day after doing some shit that got him kicked out the night before was we kicked him out on a Friday night. So me and Jimmy were hanging. It's like close to the end of the night. It's probably 1 o'clock. We're hanging out kind of by the door, and somebody comes up and is like, "Hey, there's two people having sex in the women's room." And we're like, "Oh,
Oh,
oh shit." All right. So we
yeah.
go, we go up, knock on the door. We're like, "Hey, cut it out. Let's go. We know what's going on in there." And girl opens the door and she literally wipes her mouth, like had juices flowing, wipes her mouth. I look behind her. There's another girl laying on her back with her dress down. So it's girl on girl, and in the floor of a
On the floor
women's
of the
room.
bathroom.
Floor of a
Oh,
women's room. Girl wipes her mouth and is like, "Does this mean we gotta go?" And I'm like, "Yeah,
yeah.
you gotta go. What the hell?" And then kick them out. They don't make a big deal out of it. They leave. But then the next night, I'm covering at the door and this girl walks up, and I don't have a great memory. I don't remember names or
uh,
faces or anything, but I'm looking at the ID and I'm looking at her. I'm like, where the fuck do I know her from? And then I see the dress. She's wearing the same dress,
same.
same girl that was on her back the night before in a women's room, getting her box aid out. She's
Uh,
coming back the next day in the same dress.
didn't even change clothes. Just
Yep. And
nasty.
I'm like, did I? And she didn't even let me finish. She's like, yeah, that was me. Am I still allowed in tonight? And I was like, Jesus
Like, why
Christ.
would you come back? Like after getting
Uh,
caught with something like that, like at least change clothes.
on the floor of the women's room, like
Uh,
people who
uh,
haven't worked in bars before, you don't understand. The women's room is way grosser than the
it's
men's.
terrible.
It's way, I don't know what it is. Women
I
take like the biggest shits ever at bars, apparently.
I
It's
mean,
wild.
and the thing is, like, it goes like crazy because, like, at the end of the night, we have to go in and like kind of sweep, spot check like the bathrooms, man. And these man, women are nasty as hell. Like, I just hate going in there because anything you're on, you're gonna have like, still you're gonna have like shit in one toilet. There's gonna be like blood and tampons in one. There's toilet paper everywhere, and I'm just like,
Everywhere.
God, I'm like, what the hell are they doing here? Just have parties up in that bitch.
And you would every night at the end of the night, you would find clothes too in the women's room. There'd be a
Yeah.
bra, there'd be underwear. You'd be like, you just take your bra off and never came back for it. What's going on here?
And then you sit there and you like at the meetings at the end, like front door people, like, did anybody walk out half naked? Because there's a bunch of clothes up in this mug.
And it's
But you,
definitely like something about, I don't know what it is about bars, women and being comfortable doing their business or whatever. But I'm telling you, man, it's probably a 5-to-1 ratio of times that I would hear a radio call for a clogged toilet in the
oh yeah,
women's room versus the men's room. Like they were
hundred
going nuts.
percent. And I'm like, I don't need. And I thought that women like they barely like to go out and like pee outside, but I'm like, they have no problem with going to the bar and just dumping it out. Like just straight dumping out and clogging toilets. I'm like, oh my goodness. Cause you won't get in the dude. The most you're gonna do is gonna be just piss everywhere. But man, I don't get it.
Do you remember? I don't remember if you were there that night, but I remember I made Dan kick the dude out because I was like, I'm not dealing with that because I got radio. Some dude told me, this dude's doing some weird shit in the bathroom, which you never know what that's gonna mean. And I walk
Yeah.
I walk in there, and this dude, he's got his pants around his ankles, and he's squatting down in the urinal, taking a shit in the urinal. And
What?
I walked right back out. I was like, "Hey, Dan, you got to kick that dude out. I can't. The smell, I can't do it. I can't do it." The the stall was
Oh,
preoccupied, and the dude was like, "I really had to go, man." Like,
that
I don't
is,
know.
yeah. I remember. I probably was off that night. I don't remember that
Uh,
mess. I would
I
lose my
tell
freaking mind.
Yep. And I don't. I don't remember who actually got the shit out of the urinal because the urinal
Ooh,
you can't flush that turd down.
no.
But it sure as hell wasn't me. It wasn't
Yeah.
anybody on the security team. Might have been a bar bag. I don't know who it
I
was.
was like, I told him, I was like, I don't do shit or throw up, man. I'm like, nope. If I got a mop and I can like mop up piss, like just a mop, but I'm like, I don't do shit or throw up. Yeah, no.
Yep. I always establish like I will be the one who throws out the person who's puking,
Yeah.
but I'm not doing the cleanup dude. You're not getting that out of me.
Uh-uh. I'm like, no. I was like, we got some people. I put in too much work to be sitting here and cleaning up throw up off a wall. Yeah.
Shit, was it New Year's Eve? Was it the night that that girl just started pissing on the curb at the end of the night? She was waiting for
Oh,
a cab. Wasn't that New Year's Eve?
was that New Year's?
I just remember she was in a shiny dress and she just squatted down
Yes.
on the curb in front of everybody. It's the end of the night, cold outside, so you could see the steam from the pee when it's hitting the curb.
Yeah, it was a holiday. I
and
remember that. And it was like right in
she,
front of the walkway.
yep, and she kept yelling,
Oh,
"Stop looking at me!" And it's like, bitch,
I'm like,
I
you
will.
were right in the where everybody comes in and out, like just sitting there and there's a stream going on. Oh my God. Was that New Year's?
think it was New Year's because I
It had
just
to be,
remember.
yeah.
I remember she just kept yelling, "Stop looking at me!" And I was like, "Bitch, if you weren't peeing out in public, nobody would be looking at you right
Like,
now."
no, I'm like, listen, you could have went left or right by any car, but you stood in the doorway and then just asking people walking in and out of the bar to stop looking at you. That was the
She
worst.
could have went back by the dumpster. She could have done anything, but instead she just squatted down, just pulled her underwear down, just started peeing. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, that was a was that the same night? Because I think we had a lot of girls like pissing out front for that reason for that night. That might have been a different night.
We had a couple incidents. We had one girl where she like went up and like huddled underneath that pine tree that they had up by the west side of the lot. Remember that? She was like crouched under it trying to hide, and we're like had the flashlight. We're like, we know you're peeing right now. What are you doing?
Yeah, because she did that on that tree and she was leaned back, but Highway 42 was back there and she was
Yeah.
facing the highway, just getting. I'm like, every car driving by it, you just got your legs wide open. I'm like, and she's trying to hide from the patio. I'm like, there's a whole ass highway right. That was the word. And I think she had where that was the one where would her boyfriend work?
I
I think
think that was didn't her boyfriend worked at like one of the neighboring bars, like Nino's or something, and she was like,
yeah.
they don't care if I do that here, and we're like, go there then.
Yeah, I'm like, you can go there and just squat it out. But I'm like, don't do it here. Cause she kept saying, well, I can do it at my boyfriend's place. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure your boyfriend don't want you flashing Highway 42. It's bad, bad,
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, that New Year's, man, that New Year's always like the way. I'm glad I'm not in the industry right now because the way that this last week would have played out if you working in the bar is we would have had to be in there on Christmas Eve on Tuesday.
Yep.
We would have got Christmas Day out, but Christmas Eve, like there were fights every year on Christmas Eve. It was wild. Every single year there was a fight on Christmas Eve.
Oh,
We
yeah,
would have got
100%.
would have got Christmas Day off. Then we would have been back Thursday, Friday, Saturday working that, and all the college kids are home, so it would have been packed every
Just
night.
crazy.
And then we would have got Sunday, Monday off, and then we'd be back in there New Year's Eve. And it didn't matter that New Year's Eve was on Tuesday; it would have been packed.
Oh,
We would
yeah.
have been up till 3, 4 in the morning.
Because anytime you get back in a holiday where all the college kids are back, everybody's trying to outdrink each other. And that's the
Yep.
last one before they go back to school. And it's just, oh my gosh. I do not envy people doing that right now. I am.
No, man, the Christmas Eve fights were always funny because it was clockwork. It was like 3 years in a row.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like all right, there's gonna be a fight. There's gonna be a fight. And then the last one was the big one where we tried to it was like two groups going at it, and we got one group out, and then we tried to form a line at the door.
Oh yeah.
We locked
Oh
arms. That was the last. I think that was the last Christmas Eve we worked there.
Yeah, because that's the one where Zach tried to come up and help him. Yeah, yeah, because that dude yelling, man, just yelling out racial slur. But I tried. He
Yeah,
would have got a nine. I wonder if they found him in that night.
I hope so. I mean, we literally
Ew.
like we literally got them out, and then they had like it was like 8 against 8. It was a big group, so we couldn't just let them fight. So we were barricading the door pretty much,
Yeah.
trying to stop one group. And I just remember they're pushing us, and we're holding our ground. And I feel somebody push me from behind. I'm like, who the fuck? And I look back, and it's Zach, and
Zach.
he's got like a hand in my back and a hand in your back.
Yeah. He's like, man, I missed these days. I'm like, this dude is crazy.
He's like, I missed this shit. We're like, hey man.
I'm like, stop them, go in there and get them out of here.
I
Yeah,
just
that was
remember we were we were we were holding the line for so long, and then eventually I got sick of it. I just looked at you. I was like, "Hey man, fuck this! It's time to play some offense." And I just started swinging
you
on you.
swinging them. And that's the when I got there and I got them dudes. I said, listen, let us get them out of here. I said, once they all walk out and they hit that point of the sidewalk, let you go. I'll walk back inside and I don't care what happens. They're like, bet, bet. I'm like, thank you. So they were talking mess all the way to that sidewalk. And then when I just went inside, I don't know what happened. I was like, if they got caught them or not. I just walked in. I was like, I'm not worried about it.
I just know that when I said fuck this and
Yeah,
broke the line, all I know is me and Chad and Dan. We just started throwing
just
people,
throwing people.
and it was like 5 minutes of a melee. And then by the time it was all done, my shirt was torn. The Christmas tree was all messed
Oh
up. We were
man,
throwing people in that Christmas.
you
The
had
bulbs
the
were like
balls were
rolling into the.
everywhere, and then you had the one sitting next to the Santa with the one hand. I was like, man, you just messed up all the decoration. And Lee, he's like, I paid a lot of money for this.
I just remember all I remember is this dude. He I don't think we knocked him out or anything. I think he was drunk and I threw him into a wall, and then he like stumbled and he was like laying on the like where the curb and then the street. He was laying on the
Yeah,
street. And I remember Brian started laughing because he's laying there. He's not knocked out. He's just like groaning. It's like, oh, and he just like one of the Christmas decorations, one of the bulbs flew off the tree and just slowly rolled on top of it. And he's just laying there going,
that Merry Christmas. Yeah,
he's,
that thing. I think by the end of the holiday, I think it had like 2 or 3 Christmas balls left because some things were just dropping off. Like I was like, why is it by the door in this spot? I was like, when we bring people out, they're swinging and going on. I'm like, they're gonna hit this tree and this crazy ass Santa.
I, I just remember, I don't remember if it was Lee or it was Brian, but one of them, they pulled me to the side. They're like, "Do you hate Christmas?" I was like, "What do you mean?" And they were like, "You throw somebody into that tree every weekend."
That's Lee. He's like, I swear he hates Christmas. It's like he looks for the tree, throws him into it, then throws him out.
Oh, 100%. That's 100% what I did.
You know?
If you were trying to fight me at all, I was like, all right, you're going for a ride into this tree,
This tree,
and then, and then you're going out on the street. I was
because
aiming for that thing every
Lee
time.
was like, "There's plenty of space over here. He could have just went this way. He just throws him into the tree." I
I
was like,
thought it
"That
was
tree's gotta."
funny.
Yeah, I was like, "That tree's gotta go, man." I was like, "It makes for a good prop." I'm like, "We're gonna get that thing every time."
My favorite one is the this dude. He was like talking, and he like came. He was like trying to push me, trying to come at me, and I'm just standing my ground. I'm like, dude, you don't want to do this. Trust me, you don't want to do this. And he comes and he tries to tackle me, and I put him in like just a little kind of arm whizzer headlock thing, and then I spun him around and I launched him into a
The
tree,
tree.
just like feet. He probably weighed like 140 pounds probably, and I just launched him into the tree. So he hit the tree. Him and the tree hit the wall, and then the tree fell on top of
Stall,
it. And he was just laying there. He's like, "This is assault."
stall. Like by what? The Christmas tree? Yeah, these dudes they would kill me every time they get into this stuff, and then they just cry out like assault. I never got that. Never got that at all. Especially when you give them like 4 or 5 warnings.
Man, my favorite Chad story was one of the Christmas tree times because me and Chad were working the door, and Chad is like he can handle business, but he's usually like a happy,
Yeah,
jolly dude. Like everybody loved him. Everybody who came to the bar loved him. He was the door guy. But if it was time to get down to business, he'd get down to business.
Yeah.
But still, I'd never really seen his demeanor change. And then I don't know what happened. I think this dude didn't want to leave or he wasn't getting in or something. But either way, he hit Chad's glasses and Chad
Oh,
threw him into the Christmas tree. Got out tie. He's like got his arm cocked and he
I
gets up
remember.
after and he's just like, I'm like, hey man, you good? I've never seen you lose it like that. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't like when people touch my glass.
The glass. Yeah. I remember that because when they went off, like, and they like cut like the side of his cheek, and I saw that thing go off, and like I was like, oh crap! I just went for the glasses. I didn't want anybody to step on him, and he was slinging that dude, and I was like, and like I said, Chad's got a calm demeanor, but like this is a big dude, and he was just slinging, boom, boom, boom. I'm like, I'm not getting in the middle of that because I've never seen Chad go off. I was
nicest,
like,
nicest dude. He was the oldest guy on the crew too, and we would use that to just give him so much shit. But if you pissed him off, it was time to
it
go.
was done, done and done.
What was what was the prank that I played on it? Remember, I told a girl. Did I tell a girl that he was in World War II or something, and she
Oh,
believed me?
yeah. I was like, what kind of? I'm like, look at the age. She's like, no, there's no way. You're like, yeah, he fought these battles. Now he's just here, chilling after
Yeah,
serving all them wars. And I remember she
yeah.
came up and told him that. Like, who the hell told her I fought in World War II?
That shit was hilarious.
Oh, I
I
was
forget
like,
that girl's name, but she was a regular and she loved Chad. And
oh
she
yeah.
came, gave him a big hug at the door, and then I was the first person she saw when she came in. She was like, I just love Chad so much. He's just such a nice guy. And I don't know why I wanted to mess with him that day, but I was like, yeah, he's for being as old as he is, he's still pretty sharp. And she's like, how old is he? And I was like, he's 75. It's like, no way. He looks
No.
great for 75. I'm like, yeah, he's 75. He served. You can go
This-
ask him. And she like went up and she told him and he just looked, he's like, what the fuck did you just say?
yeah. He's like, who the fuck told us World War II? I was like, the funny thing is, she believed it going to you.
Oh man, she believed it. She was going because she's like, he's really 75. I'm like, yeah, he's 75. She's
Oh
like, oh my
man,
God. And
that
then
was
she
the
like
funniest shit
turned her,
ever.
like cocked her head to the side and like squinted. She's like, I guess I could see it. And I was like, yeah,
Just like, yep, 2 tours going on.
man.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that stuff was yeah, I know towards the end of there, me and Chad were because we're two oldest going up in there. I'm like, man, that's when we started calling ourselves Lethal Weapon. We're
Yeah.
Don Riggs. Getting too old for this
Yeah.
shit.
And then they did that Lethal Weapon TV show, and everybody was like, man, Justin's kind of like that. He's crazy.
That crazy, yo. That new one. Oh my goodness.
And we had some crazy times there. That was kind of it was funny because I was always down for the action, but I'd also just play a lot of pranks on people and just mess with bar customers. That was one of my favorite parts of the job is just messing with
Oh yeah. Because I'd get the whole and the worst thing was is that having the customer come to me and ask these questions. I'm like,
them.
why the hell would they? I'm like, oh, where the hell is Justin at? I'm just looking over to see you laughing. I'm like, oh crap. Because the thing is that whenever like Justin would sit there and talk, like one he didn't the whole time working, he didn't smile. So the whole time just going, everything's just serious face. So when he says it, you like some customer coming up, they'd be like, yeah, this dude is stonewall face, so he's got to be telling the truth. And I'm looking in there, and you're trying to tell customers like, no, no. They come up to me, he's like, you're saying, no, I'm not 65. Don't listen to him. I'm like, he's an asshole. No.
I think what was the one that I did to you that it like actually had you laughing? You were like, I'm not even mad. That's hilarious. I think I told one of them that you were like a founding member of Bell Biv
Yeah,
DeVoe or something.
they're like, because they come up and they're like, I love that song, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, like, remind me, I'm just standing there. I'm like, yeah, that's a good song. Yeah, and that song, and I'm like, yep, that's a good song too. I'm like, why is these people just saying Bill Biv DeVoe songs? I was like, you must be a big fan. They're like, man, yeah, it's awesome. Like, you put together a great group. I said, well, what was that? They're like, yeah, he said you were a founding member of Bill Biv DeVoe. I'm looking over, dude. He's just rolling. I'm like, oh, I said, that's a good one. I'm like, yeah, I was. I just, put them all together, told them it'll work. I'm like, people will believe anything in the bar drunk.
People believe anything, man. They believe anything.
That dude just started saying out songs. I'm like, everything's Bell Biv DeVoe. I'm like, do you really like this group? He's like, yeah. Man, you put together a hell of a group. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, man, he was an older dude who was annoying the shit out of me then. Because he just kept coming up complaining about the music. And I was like, bro, I don't have any jurisdiction. If I had jurisdiction over this music, this is not what would be
No,
playing.
it'd be all trap music going on now.
And he's talking about what he wants to hear. And he said he's like naming all this stuff. He's like, man, you gotta play some classic Boys to Men. I want to hear some R&B. I want to hear some Bell Biv DeVoe. And I was like, hey, if did you know he was a founding member? And he like looked, he's like, for real? I'm like, yeah, man. He wasn't, he got separated from the group before they blew up, but he was a founding member. And then the guy, he was like, man, I think I heard about that. I think I heard about that. He just goes up and starts talking to you. I'm like,
I'm
dude, to
like,
believe
man.
anything.
I'm like, man, why is this dude talking to me about Bell Biv DeVoe? I'm like, man.
They believe anything, man.
Oh yeah. Stuff is nuts. So what we got going for these segments coming up, man. We're gonna be doing just want to bring up we're gonna be doing a like guest hosts. I know
Yep.
we had a lot of people when we're starting back up saying they had some stories, so we want to make sure we'll get a time of bringing in Zoom and let you guys hear some of them crazy stories is still at the same bar because I think we have some servers, uh, some of the managers, like the ones we're talking about, Lee and Lil Lady, they all had said they have stories, and we'll get some of the other security guys in here to tell their stories too, and let you guys understand how crazy these Thursday nights were.
Yeah, and I mean anybody who's listening out there too, if you work in the bar, you're a
Mm-hmm.
bartender, you're security, you're a manager, whatever, you don't have to have worked with us. You can reach out, you can come on, we can tell your stories, we can shoot the shit. If you did work with us, you want to come on, even if we didn't get along when you worked there, we still
Yeah.
invite you, we still welcome you on.
Uh,
And it doesn't have to be Wild Bill's people. We met some good people working in Uptown too. We had a
oh yeah.
lot of crazy shit happening uptown,
Yeah.
especially over the summer of 2020. That was a wild summer to be working out.
Yeah. That's some interesting stuff in itself.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we can get some guest hosts in here, get some people who want to tell their stories and remind us of stories that we forgot. Because that's the funny thing is people are always
Yeah.
like, man, are you making this stuff up? And I'm like, trust me, dude, I'm not
No.
creative enough to make this stuff up. And then people will like when we all met up the night before my wedding and we were telling stories, there were like probably 3, 4 stories.
Yeah, there were
I
some
forgot all about that.
totally forgot. I was like, man, I need a pencil and paper. I need to write this stuff down. But then we got to get all those guys in there, Jimbo, Big A, all those guys, and get in there and tell them stories, man. So y'all can see like this place was really nuts, man, on Thursday nights.
Man, imagine if we could get Snell on. He was a man of few words, but
Gosh,
he saw
if
some
you
shit.
if you want to think of, let's see, I'm trying to see how I can put it for our security there, like the Mr. Miyagi of security. I mean, just calm demeanor, don't get excited, nothing. Nicest guy when he's kicking you out. But I want him to get a couple of stories with it. I think twice I saw him get angry, and it was. I understand why he never got
That
angry.
one, the one I always think of is I got into it with the guy, and I took the dude down. I had him in full mount. I had him controlled and everything. And all of a sudden, this fist just flies over my shoulder, past my head, just pop, hits the dude in the mouth. And I look, and Snell's standing over me. It threw the punch, like wrapped it around my head, hit the
Yeah,
dude clean. And afterwards, he's like, "Oh man, that was so bad. That's so bad. I shouldn't have done that." And he's
yeah,
like, apologizing. I'm like, "I don't even
that's
know why you did it. I had it controlled, man." He's
yeah,
like, "God just pissed me off." I'm like, "Hey, I mean,
and that
you
was
got
the
to get
one.
it when you can."
Yeah, the one thing every time he did, he would be so like just bummed. Oh man, I don't know why I did that. I shouldn't have. I'm like, no, it was warranted, but he would always feel the worst, man, when he would just sit there and go. But yeah, we need to get. I gotta find Snail and get him on here. Let him tell a couple of them stories because he was a part of that group. Like him, Snail, Chad, Big A. They were there before I was. I know they probably have some right when it's the beginning when they were opening it. They probably have some amazing ones.
Yeah,
So we
we
get these boys going.
got to get some of the bartenders on. We got to get Bree, Annie,
Oh yeah,
Jorge,
yeah. I know.
any of the bartenders on
I
there.
know Jorge's got to have a couple, and Bree. I know Bree has a bunch. She's gonna have to get on here and tell. And Martin, get her on there, the server.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
She's got. Yeah, I know she has a lot of them. So I think she started out there with her, Bree, and I don't know who the other servers were. I think they started out. But we'll get them going.
Get them going, and then I think something that we're going to change too is we're going to do a couple little segments too, so we can hit things that didn't just so we're not just telling stories. We can kind of make some commentary and some stuff going on. So we got this new segment we're going to do called Thursday Nighter of the Week, where we highlight somebody, it can be in music, movies, sports, pop culture, whatever. Somebody who they're behaving like a Thursday nighter.
Yeah.
Off the top of your head, can you think of who you'd want to nominate for the first Thursday nighter of the week this
I'm trying to think entertainment.
a lot of people are bugging in the entertainment world.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can't even. I want to think of. Man, I can't. I can't right now. You got one?
I mean, I feel like I don't know what she's done recently, but I bet if I looked up, I could find something. But I feel like the first Thursday nighter of the week should go to the woman who makes music exclusively for Thursday nighters, and that's got to be Cardi B. I feel like
Oh yeah.
she got to be the Thursday nighter of the week. If we are
Yeah.
talking just the most ratchet, crazy, weird. Like
She bring.
I was reading something where like she was 8 months pregnant and she's sleeping with Stefon Diggs, and you're like,
Yeah.
what is going? And it's not Stefon Diggs' baby; it's someone else's baby. Like that's
Yeah.
Thursday night behavior. That
I heard.
actually, when I read that, it actually reminded me of a Thursday nighter we had in the past. You remember? I don't know the girl's name, but do you remember that girl who used to come in with her mom and she was pregnant?
And they would walk there because none of them had a car, and she was
Yeah,
like pregnant because like she would always be like, "Yeah, I'm good because I just live right back there," and she would come in there with her mom. But didn't she have that baby like when she was pregnant? Didn't that dude come in with her dad? And remember when
yeah.
she came in there and get oh my
Oh man.
this girl like she would always come in there with her mom all the time. All the time they would walk in there. I mean, just ratchet. And they just picking up dudes. And then one time she just kept coming in. She was getting thicker and thicker. And I'm like, man, this girl's pregnant. She'd be in there like 8, 9 months and had this kid. And then the mom kept coming and she kept saying, yeah, she's back home. She's home with the baby. She can't leave the baby or whatever. And then we had one dude that came in and he's like, yeah, I'm just with my father-in-law here or something like that. And my baby mama's father. We just going in here. I'm like, all right, whatever it is. And then I remember her pulling up because someone had drove her there and her kids were in the car and she had like literally like no joke. I'm not even making up like house coat on. And I'm like, hey, and I remember toward the end, I was like, listen. And she's like, I just need to go in there and see if someone's in there. I said, listen, when you go in there and you find them, you can talk to them and have them come out. Do not start shit up in this bar. She's like, I just need to make sure he's in there, see where he's at. He's not answering his phone. And I got his kids. I said, I get it, but don't start nothing. Me and Chad out in the front. Let her in there. And I mean, it had to be probably 3 minutes. She must have found that dude quick. And we need security to the dance floor. The dude was running out saying she's crazy. And I'm like, what in the world? And all of a sudden she's running out after. I said, didn't I tell you not to? She was like, nah, fuck that. So dude runs across the street to the other parking lot. And next thing you know, the girl's father, he just walks out, strolls, lights a cigarette out there. It's like, man, life's crazy, bro. I'm like, crazy? That's your man. What are you doing? He's like, I told him, she might be up in here. I'm like, but yeah, you gonna let him go in there with some other chick, and you are the dad. Like, I don't know. That was weird. It was funny though when she came in. It was nuts.
Yeah, that's something you only gonna see on a Thursday night
Oh
in
yeah.
Wild Bills. Now, I guarantee you that girl, if she did her Spotify rap, her number one played artist last year was probably Cardi
Oh,
B. I
gotta be.
guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Yeah, Cardi B's gonna bring the ratchet out of people.
Oh man, that first what was it? The fall when Cardi B first dropped. That was one of the worst times of my life working security. I remember working. We were
We're
in
in
Uptown at
Uptown.
this. Yep, we were
Yeah.
in Uptown at this point. And I remember the manager comes up, like, "Hey man, think those dudes over there. I think they're throwing gang signs." And I look, and Cardi B, whatever bullshit song is playing. And yeah, this dude is throwing up signs, but he's rapping along to Cardi B.
Just
I'm
Cardi B
like,
just going.
I'm like, he's just throwing signs, bro. He's
Yeah.
not really doing that if he's rap. Because then the next song after that was that Lizzo song, and then he's singing his heart out to that
Word
song,
for word.
still throwing up signs. I'm like,
And I
hey man,
remember telling you at the end of the night, I'm like, listen, even if he is doing signs, like, do we really have to worry about a dude that's singing Lizzo word
no,
for word? I'm like, I think he's
no.
all right, man. He's comfortable. He'll be all right.
And he's throwing signs for like things that ain't even around Minnesota. So you're like,
No.
he's throwing signs he saw in other music videos. You're
And
like,
that's
come on,
exactly
bro.
it. Cause I was like, I'm sitting there trying to look, and I'm like, if you had any real member of a gang up in here, he's just gonna get his butt whooped because he threw up like 3 or 4 different ones. I'm like, yeah, bro. Just keep singing Lizzo, keep your hands down, man. That's
That was that Uptown Fremont crowd, man. They wanted to act
oh,
hard, but then they're rapping along to Cardi B, they're singing along to Lizzo, and you're just looking around like, what the fuck is going
yeah.
on?
Like you can't do it, man. You can't do it.
Yeah, she got to be our honorary first Thursday nighter of the week for
We'll
sure.
take yeah, because she's just like her music brings the Thursday nights to the dance floor
Um,
every time.
every single time. Yeah, I think that's the only one I got. I can't really think of anybody else I would nominate. I mean, that
I'm thinking
dude.
like, dude,
Did you watch any of the bowl games yesterday?
some of them, yeah,
The college bowl games yesterday. Did you see when that brawl broke out and that lineman he stomped on the dude's ankle?
yeah, 55.
Yep,
That's
that's
yeah,
that's some Thursday night
that's
behavior.
Thursday night.
That's
Yeah, I'll
not
give that one.
Thursday
Yeah,
Thursday nighters. They're not going to actually fight like a man. They're going to do some
some
sneaky sucker shit
sneaky,
like that.
scary shit when no
Yep,
one's looking, thinking no one's. Yeah, that is a perfect. Yeah, that dude gets. Yeah, that's a
yep.
dude Thursday nighter.
Yep, that's a dude Thursday nighter. I
Perfect.
didn't I didn't like what Cam Ward did yesterday, but I can't call him a Thursday nighter for it. That's just lame behavior. He just
Oh,
played the
from the
first half. Yeah, man, he
yeah.
played the first half to set the record, and then he sits out the second half. It's like, man, your team, especially at the quarterback position, your team
Yeah.
is in the trenches right now. You're just gonna bail on them?
And then they end up losing by 1 point. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, bro. Like you can't be on that sideline at the end of that game when that
No,
horn goes off. And I lose by 1 point. You're supposed to be the one to bring it.
that was a rough
Uh,
look. And then his agent tried saying this was pre-orchestrated. The team knew this was going to happen, but then they asked the coach after, and the coach was like, "I'm not going to talk about any of this." So that coach was like, "Nah,
oh yeah.
we
Yeah.
didn't plan."
Yeah, be like, nah, I'm not getting into any of this mess. But he should have just did like what Dion did with the Colorado players. Just insure yourself.
Get insurance, man. If you're going to play the game, play the game. Don't play
Yeah.
to set some. So I don't even know what record he set yesterday. Some
It was the he broke the single season quarterback like career passing yard, not career single season passing yards. He broke, but
for
I'm like,
Miami.
Was it Miami or was it for I thought it was FCS.
Oh,
FBS.
was it?
I think
Was
it
it?
was. I think I saw it on X. I
E-
looked on there. I think it was FBS. FBS.
yeah.
He broke it.
Either way, I don't know. I don't know if bowl games should count towards that. I don't know.
Nah. I think it should stop after the regular season. Like once you get in the playoffs, I'm like, because you'll get. That's my whole thing on playoffs. I know we can do a whole segment on that. I think that mess is BS.
Man, they already want to expand too. It's like, guys, we're at 12. We're good with 12. We don't even know. Like they were talking
Yeah.
about expanding it before they even tried it. It's like, guys,
Oh
can we
yeah.
see? Can we see how 12 goes? Because it's going exactly how we thought it was going to go. There's
Oh
no
yeah.
upsets. This isn't college basketball. There's no March Madness. There's no Cinderella story. It's just
No, and they want it to be so bad. I'm like, listen, I get it. You got a team that's went undefeated, but I'm like, they ain't played nobody.
nah.
You can't throw them in the tank with sharks, man, and you've been playing with minnows. It's just gonna be
Yeah.
bad.
You
It's
you
gonna
start
end
with
up bad.
Indiana.
Yeah, it's just gonna be bad. And then SMU, like,
Yep. SMU.
why? Why? There's no need. Like, you can't get in there and put on gloves and think you can box with Ali, and it's not gonna
No,
do it.
nah, man. If we thought what we thought would happen is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
It's the best, it's the best four teams left. It's like, all right,
I'm like, shoot, what they coach say on that one meme? They are who they say they are.
guys, they are who we say they are. Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like,
I'm trying to think if we got any other Thursday
yeah,
night behavior that's
that
been
dude
going
is a
on.
perfect one though. That's a perfect one
Yeah,
for a dude.
I saw that and I was not only was I mad at him, I was mad at the dude who he stomped on his teammates. I'm like, where you guys at?
Yeah, because I was
What are
looking,
we
I
doing?
kept rewinding on there. I'm like, did anybody else see it or like, why didn't dude just point out like this dude just did this? But I'm curious now because it's all over everywhere. If this dude's
And
gonna be penalized or not, he got to be penalized for something.
yeah, people are saying he's got to get suspended, but like, I don't. How's that gonna? What if is
No,
it? I think he's a senior, so I don't know. How do you suspend a senior? There's no way,
because depending on how much damage he did, shoot, you might have to take that dude to court.
dude. It's the ankle too. You never like the way
Yeah.
it bent, and then you're talking about the metal of the cleats, the sharpness of the
And he
cleats.
put
You're like,
like
come
he put
on.
like his whole weight on that mug when he
Mm.
went down. I was like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, that was Thursday night behavior for
Mm,
sure, for sure.
nuts.
Uh,
Yeah, so we're gonna get this we'll get that going and we probably should bring I was thinking we should probably should bring the guest people in on a Thursday night.
yeah, yeah. We could
Just do
we
one.
could do a recording on a Thursday night. Yep. So yeah, like we said, if you guys are listening, you want to come on the show, you want, and if you if you don't feel like coming on the show, but you just want to talk about some shit, just write us a message and be like, hey,
Yeah.
you guys should talk about this. Or if you got a question, write it in. Be like, hey, you guys should let me ask you about this. So we want to be a super interactive pod and just kind of hit all the bases.
Yeah. And everybody's got any kind of thing they want to get out their chest and any kind of Thursday night activity can be brought anything. It can be brought in the workplace, something's on sports, anything. Let us
Anything.
know. We'll talk about it. We'll throw our 2 cents in and
And if you got nominees for Thursday nighter of the week too, send us the video, send us
yeah.
who we should be nominating. Let us know.
Then we'll go for the whole year and then we'll have the Thursday night of 2025. We'll get in there going.
Thursday nighter of the year.
Of the year. Give the awards out.
All right, I think we can wrap the episode on that. So yeah, people, give us a listen, send the podcast to your friends and family, and we'll come back next week with some new stories and a new guest.
And we got again, you can go and find us on Instagram on Thursday Night Lights. Subscribe to
Yep.
us, and we'll throw in stuff there that we got coming up, and you guys can keep up on us on that side too as well.
Yeah, buddy.
Yay!